I actually dislike the term search engine optimization and love the term search everywhere optimization. And that doesn't mean that you have to go all out and be everywhere all at once, but get yourself found everywhere and then direct people to the right places.
Well, hey, welcome back to the Amanda Kaufman Show. And today I'm joined by Corey Daigle, who is the founder of WanderWeb, a Maine-based SEO and web strategy studio helping small businesses grow smarter, not louder. Love that. A former small business advisor, Corey blends strategy with approachable, actionable marketing that gets real results. Corey, welcome to the show.
Thanks. Nice to meet you, Amanda. It's great to be here.
Nice to spend some time with you. So, okay, everybody is talking about how quickly technology is changing. You know, I can't do a coaching session without people sharing with me that they just wish they were more visible, more visible. What do you wish people were focused on, given your expertise and how you love to help?
Yeah, I would say that the thing that a lot of businesses forget when it comes to getting found online and search engine optimization is it all starts with your ideal customer, right? So everybody's strategy is unique and based upon the person that you're trying to appeal to. And so if you really just understand the person that you're appealing to or the person that you help and truly show up in those places in a way that's meaningful, expresses what you do and shares your awesomeness and the results that you get, then you'll win every time.
I love that. You know, there's a lot of resistance out there, especially with, more word of mouth based business to claim that ideal client profile or ICP. And I know I was the same way, when I was just scrolling through socials last night and I came across another coach who's like, anybody who's trying to pin you down in a niche, like they're bad, don't do that, right? If you're multi-passionate, if you're a spiritual person, you need to follow the flow. But, older and wiser me that's been in business for over 8 years as an entrepreneur, I got to tell you something. I slept a lot better after I decided in advance who I wanted to serve. And then it ended up kind of being more of this feedback loop. I call it this infinite marketing feedback loop, where it's like I push something, I put it out there that's intended for the ICP. And then I put my ear to the ground to figure out did it resonate, and it either is going to cause a positive response, a negative response, which doesn't happen very often, but it can happen, or the dreaded neutral. So right. If somebody's wanting to know if their website is effective or they're doing it right, what are some of the things that you look for or you tell your clients to look for to know that a website is actually effective?
Well, that's a really, really loaded question because
I love loaded questions.
Search engine optimization these days is not just about your website. People aren't just looking on websites. So they're looking everywhere. And so I actually dislike the term search engine optimization and love the term search everywhere optimization. And that doesn't mean that you have to go all out and be everywhere all at once, but get yourself found everywhere and then direct people to the right places. And that may be your website, but when the AI or Google search engine is looking for you, they're looking across the entire ecosystem. They're not just looking for a website. They're looking at all the places that you could be found, the reviews that you have, the reputation you have online, the content that you've created. I could speak days about how important content is in creating meaningful content and how consistent and upstanding your brand is overall. So Google uses, and I use Google as a blanket term, but really search engines use EEAT, which is, it looks at engagement and authority and trust. And finding that for your ideal client is so important. And what that involves is a multifaceted strategy. So you need to be found locally. You need to be found on your website, in social media channels. You really just need to be found everywhere. It doesn't mean you need to do all the work everywhere, but you need to have a presence that evokes trust everywhere.
Now, if somebody's been on the road with their business for a while, maybe they've been posting content, but it's been sporadic, or they built a website and then they got a little further down the business journey and they realize, I want to pivot, I want to adjust. This is actually one of the biggest questions that I get in our community is like, I went this direction, but I'm really sure I think I want to go that direction, but I don't know because I already invested a lot in the old way. What would you say to someone that just basically woke up one day and realized like, my brand is a mess, or I want to talk about something new? Where should they start? Because everything all at once is probably going to keep most people frozen, I would think.
That's a really, really great question, because a lot of us become entrepreneurs because we are multi-passionate. We don't want to just do one thing all the time, especially coaches, right? Like you bring so much of your experience from your background into what you do, and it's so easy to pivot. And so there's a few rules of thumb that I have. The first is every time, and I was just speaking with someone about this earlier today, another coach who I met, and we were chatting about her multi-passionate focus. And what I said was every single time you have a different customer that you're appealing to, that's a different business, because you have to have a different business model for every person that's receiving your message if they're a different avatar. Now, there's a Venn diagram of all of this, but finding the sweet spot in the middle is super important. And so what I say to these multi-passionate entrepreneurs is find the part of your funnel or your sales or your engagements, that your services, that provides you the most joy and the most revenue, and really go deep on that one, right? So dig into what is working for your ideal customer and that you love. So setting those bumpers in your business, it doesn't mean you can't explore other offerings, but they can be a launch or a step off from your index offer, which really is the way that you can get people started with you. So for example, the entrepreneur I met with earlier today, she's a coach that does speaking. She's also a keynote speaker. She also helps with coaching, branding, and strategy. And so how do you marry all of those things together? So what I encouraged her to do was really look at what she loves to do the most and the clients that need that. Is it profitable, right? Because you need to make profit, otherwise you're a nonprofit. And then sort of launch those other services off that, not making them a cornerstone of what she's trying to do.
Yeah, what a journey it really is. What are the must-haves that someone would need to consider in being searchable or being found? Because people often say, like, I just need to be visible, and I can just tell as a coach, like, you don't know what that means. Right? Most people equate that to just posting more often on their favorite social platform. But what's your take?
To be found it's a loaded question, because a couple years ago I could have said, do this, this, and this, right? But now we're really looking at what's coming down the pike with these learned language models. And also how people are searching is being really drastically altered by these learned language models. So certainly you have to do the basis of all SEO, which is having a website, having reviews, a Google business profile, your backlinks or registries that are applicable to your business, and really good content that speaks to the problem that you solve and the results that you get. Those are just cornerstones. But really with AI coming down the pike, doing a lot of forecasting and trying to future-proof for our businesses, we're recommending a lot more of an advanced technique around review management, because these AI search engines are looking for experiential feedback, right? So where someone would 2 years ago maybe search camping near me, or someone who can help me through my divorce, right? If you're a divorce coach or something, they're now saying, like, I would like to go camping somewhere on the coast where it's not too cold, with my 8-year-old son who likes dinosaurs and my 10-year-old daughter who likes books. Give me some suggestions, right? And so what used to be one search, camping, and then they look for books, and they'd look for individual things, is now a very dynamic search that is having the search engine synthesize all this information for you. It's so different. And so where we're putting our clients now is really focusing on review management, really focusing on those complex query-based search topics, like what I just mentioned to you, right? I'm creating content around those. And also getting onto forums. Reddit and Quora are huge in these AI search models right now. It doesn't mean they will be in the future, but right now they are. And then we're also thinking about advertising. What's that going to look like in the future? Because we know Google, for example, makes their money from ads. How are they going to monetize these AI tools that are synthesizing all of this information? Right? What is that going to look like? And planning ahead for that for our clients so that we can have them still ahead of the game and have the longevity and trust that they need in order to be first. Right?
What do you think most entrepreneurs or, especially like coaches and experts, what do you think they're really overlooking or missing when it comes to search everywhere optimization the most?
I think for local businesses or businesses that serve a region, so say you're a human resources coach or a team development coach or something, and you really want to physically be in the region, I think really optimizing your Google business profile is so important in getting those reviews off your Google business profile. But for those more meta coaches that can coach anywhere and they have virtual groups and things like that, I think that one of the things that a lot of people do is they'll go deep into one search engine or tool like Facebook or Instagram or TikTok, whatever, right? What I would recommend is that you go everywhere and at least set up a foundation of 3 solid posts: who you are, what you do, who you do it for, and how they get results from working with you, and have those everywhere. And then just direct people to where you want them to be from there. So say you're not big into TikTok, just create 3 TikToks. That's all you need to do. And then send people somewhere else. Say it's your LinkedIn that people find you. I've found coaches do really well on LinkedIn. Some of them don't even need websites because they've grown their LinkedIn so well, right? It doesn't mean they shouldn't have one, but when you're 15 years in and you have a 7-figure business off LinkedIn, do you want to invest in a website? Does it make a difference at that point? I would say
it really does depend on your vision, right? And where you want to go. A couple of years ago, we were very dependent on advertising. We were doing a lot of meta ads. We were using a Facebook group. We made $1 million out of it. It was great.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And the one certainty when it comes to advertising, especially effective advertising, is that it's going to go up. Right? As people kind of learn the game and they figure it out, the price, because of supply and demand, right, is going to go up, right? So that's exactly what happened. The price went up and the preferences shifted and changed. And I'm sharing this because, dear listener, there is a lot of value in having an omni-channel everywhere at once type strategy that's still not going to dominate your mental load, right? The lucky thing is when that faucet turned off, or when that was a no longer viable channel for marketing. I just so happened to have been doing this very show for years, right? For 5 years, I was producing about weekly, and about a year ago, I really took up the frequency and changed the format and all that kind of thing. But because I already had these breadcrumbs of presence and content speaking to my avatar, when the channel failed that I was in, I was able to pivot to something with a significant advantage. And so in addition to everything you just said, I would also add as a meta coach and not meta as in Facebook. I mean, I can coach anybody anywhere. Is that if you have a rhythm of content distribution where you have at least one long form, and long form could be 10 minutes. It doesn't have to be an hour long anything, but one long form somewhere where your face is shown, your opinions are shared, and you are present. That video, you can create blog content. You can post, like this very show is on YouTube, it's on Spotify, it's on Apple. We do a LinkedIn article. We have a YouTube, and me personally, I'm not doing a lot of it because we've systematized a lot of the workflow. But here's the good news is if you go into AI and you ask about people who help coaches with building businesses, I was already positioned. Right. And it was exactly that strategy that you named even better, which was search everywhere optimization and having presence in omni-channel. Right. Thank goodness I did that, because when the funnel failed, I thought we were done for,
Yeah. To piggyback on that, anytime you don't own something, you can lose it. Right. And
Amen.
So having those other places that you can be, and content, you own your content no matter what. And you can syndicate that content. We call it a content syndication strategy here at WanderWeb. But taking that content, once you have it, it's yours. Use it. Use it in as many ways as possible. So you could even get transcripts from your podcasts and create search engine optimized transcripts that go onto your web page. There's so many ways just to then use that piece of content and create a thought leadership funnel for yourself. I also, for coaches in particular, think public engagements are so very important. It's something that's specific to the coaching industry, really, where getting up and if you're the person on the stage, you're automatically the expert, right? And so you need to have all of those other things out there for trust and authority. But when we work with coaches, we often recommend like, hey, where can you present? Where can you get in front of people so that you're seen as an authority? And we can build all of the links to that and get people to that and drive people that, give traffic to that. But you really automatically get found as an authority anytime you're in front of a group of people standing on a stage.
Absolutely. Oh my gosh, I'm so glad you brought that up, because another big piece as we were moving to a pure organic strategy was I can keep pitching to the same audience, but the thing that ads gave me was it gave me access to other audiences. I basically paid to play. But there's a lot of organic opportunities like doing podcast interviews where you get access to other people's audiences. And what you just need to do is show up well. And like you said, you get to be the authority. And you also build additional connections that your organic, I call it like the close network. The close network ends up growing because when you serve that audience really well, you earn a reputation with your colleagues. And that is a really powerful move as well. Oh my gosh, I love that. That's a great tip. Corey, what is the best way for people to follow you, find out more about WanderWeb? What's their next big move?
Sure. Well, you can always go to our website, www.wanderweb.com, and that's Wander, W-A-N-D-E-R, web. And on there, we've created a resource for businesses that are sort of, in between. They're still doing things themselves where they can get a weekly tip in their inbox for one actionable thing you can do to help your search engine optimization that week. And it takes 5 to 10 minutes. And within a year, imagine the impact that would have.
Oh my gosh, that's valuable.
I love to share that. Again, it's part of our mission to help businesses grow. So please share that with your audience.
Absolutely. And dear listener, it's in the show notes wherever you happen to be listening to this episode. Corey, thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you so much. And listener, if you loved this, if this was giving you some really great ideas about getting out there, getting into motion, Corey, I really love your lead magnet of the just one thing a week, because you do build reputation over time. That's not something that you just turn the switch on. The one switch you might feel though, listener, is the decision. Right? The decision to actually show up and to do these things. But I love how you have that laid out as a bite-sized thing. If you loved it too, listener, make sure you grab the link to wherever you're listening to this and share it with 3 of your friends who are building web presence. They're building a business. They want to have more ease and flow. Something I like to say is when it comes to marketing, more is more and less creates a chore, right? If you don't have the brand presence and you don't have the reputation, it is way, way harder to make sales. So just keep getting better and better still at the marketing. By the way, if you love this, make sure you hit subscribe before you leave, because we're going to have another episode coming out very shortly. And, to Corey's point, reviews make a difference. So if you take 2 minutes and share a honest review of the show, it really helps with people deciding whether they want to spend time with us or not. Until the next time, thank you so much for being here, and do what matters.